Chris!
Heath!
Oh, my fingers are so pruny with anticipation of this deep dive we're going on today.
Oh yeah, we're all quivering with anticipation right now. I can't believe Nintendo announced Super Mario Galaxy 4 and 5. This Switch 2 is looking lit. Too bad it costs $1,200 and demands a human sacrifice to buy one.
Oh, but so did the Wii U, so that's par for the course.
I'm just...
Why do you think it was called the Virtual Boy? That's what's... You killed him.
We do not know about the Switch 2 announcement our audience will have listened to by the time this episode goes live.
I'm just curious, what happened to 3?
It's just they took a hard pivot somewhere and 3 got canceled and...
It started fresh with 4.
It's on the dark side of the moon. Hey, Samantha's here.
Hi.
Yeah, so we will not be discussing any Switch 2 news. That'll be for next episode. Of what show, Heath?
Mobius Tubes.
That's right. It's episode 119. We're recording this on, it's March 22nd, right?
Yeah.
2025. I'm sitting here very eager because both of my co-hosts have finished their Nier Automata experience. But we shouldn't dive right into it. We should have a little foreplay first, right, guys?
Whoa.
If you say so.
What order of operations should we tackle the games we've been playing? I can begin.
Okay.
This will be my sole contribution to this episode. Guess what, listeners? You get a break this week. I am not talking about Cyberpunk 2077. Rest assured, I'm still playing it in the background. I just got my toes wet with the Phantom Liberty DLC expansion. Stay tuned for more updates on that on a future episode near you. But I took a break. I played something else in the interim for some variety, so no one goes crazy. I played a little indie game from a couple years ago called Jusant, a very artsy climbing game. It's from developer Don't Nod, probably best known for the Life is Strange games. So this is a little outside of their wheelhouse. Jusant, we're informed at the very opening moments of the game that word refers to a receding ocean wave. And it's about this world that has had all the seas recede. It's now a bone-dry desert, and you're just this unnamed little boy climbing this otherworldly, almost mystical pillar that just juts through the clouds straight up into the air, this cylinder that defies any natural formation. You're tasked with climbing it to the top, presumably for some uncertain purpose.
Did Ubisoft make this game?
Right, because
All the climbing of
Ubisoft,
towers.
known for their Assassin's Creed climbing games.
And then you jump off and an eagle goes, "Wah!"
There's no jumping off, not intentionally at least, in Jusant. I'd say this game is taking maybe a page out of the book of other very artistic, wordless indie games, kind of like a Journey or an Abzu. It's cribbing from them aesthetically. It's going for that low poly but very beautiful art aesthetic. I've got some positive things to say about Jusant. It's short, not a very long game. I did a very completionist run getting as many collectibles as I could, and it took me about 7 hours. I bet most people finish it faster than that. Here's what it reminded me most when I picked up the controller. Jusant, if I had to boil it down to a sentence, it's like a slightly more systems-heavy, spiritual successor to an indie game I played a decade ago called Grow Home. For the uninitiated, Grow Home was a Ubisoft game that came out in 2015, starting a little robot, basically Jack and the Beanstalk style, climbing giant pieces of vegetation far into the sky, all about vertical traversal. And the calling card of Jusant that Grow Home shared is the very granular control scheme. The left analog stick controls your left hand, and the right analog stick controls your character's right hand. And you are very specifically planning out your rock climbing route as you try to climb this giant pillar. Basically, your left hand is controlling the left side of your character, and the right hand is controlling the right side of the character, as you painstakingly look for little crevices to latch onto and footholds to clamber on. This game, Grow Home, and now Jusant, I'd say they're kind of a response to the AAA game trend of 10, 15 years ago of the super trivialized climbing you could find in those early Assassin's Creed games or those early Uncharted games, where you spend a lot of runtime in those games climbing up really impressive walls and your character's animating in a very impressive way. And an onlooker would say, oh, you're playing this game so skillfully, until they look at the controller you're holding and you are just holding the analog stick up.
Right.
and maybe hitting A once in a while.
Right, yeah.
Where no, this takes a more Death Stranding approach where it is really mechanizing the act of climbing and the way Death Stranding mechanicalized the act of walking cross country. So it's far more systems heavy than Grow Home even was. You're having some considerations during a particularly hard climb in Jusant would be you have a stamina bar to manage. You have to weigh considerations like if the sun's hot rays are beating down directly on your character, your stamina bar is going to drain far faster because he's overheating, rather than if you stay secluded in the shade. You have a longer runway of stamina. Or similarly, if you're playing a little fast and loose and you don't have footholds for your feet and your legs are dangling, that will similarly drain your stamina bar faster. You want to be very locked onto the wall as much as possible. Maybe the mechanical part of the climbing I enjoyed the most was managing your supply of anchors. So you have climbing equipment, right? Often you'll have this long rope that you tie around to something to save your bacon if you ever fall off the cliff. The rope will catch you and you'll have to climb back up it, but at least you don't fall to your death. But you also have a supply of secondary anchors if you're going on a particularly long marathon climb. Once in a while, you, of your own volition, can choose, okay, I'm going to set my self-imposed checkpoint here, and you spend an anchor. You only have 3 anchors at your disposal to last until you reach solid ground at the conclusion of your climb. So you are choosing when and where you set your 3 limited checkpoints. Maybe you see there's going to be a tricky jump you're going to have to do. You could mess it up. Maybe you set your checkpoint right before you try to execute the jump. Things like that. Little considerations of what kind of risk and reward do I want to weigh on this climb? If you spend your anchors too fast, then you maybe have to finish the climb longer than you'd like in anticipation of falling. I'd say overall, I wish they constrained you a little bit more. I felt for a long duration of this game's runtime, the 3 anchor limit was a little too generous. It took the tension off a little too much for me. I felt like I was only using 1 or 2, and I had a third one I didn't even need to bother worrying about. So yeah, the game wasn't too punishing or hard in that regard for me. Well, like I said, short game, but it does a good job of varying the kind of environments you traverse as you ascend this giant pillar. It keeps the experience fresh and dynamic. Over the course of the 6 chapters, each one is in a very different kind of a landscape with its own little mechanical wrinkles of like, oh, this is a more vegetation chapter, so you have to activate the certain local foliage that will create new footholds for you to clamber on. Or there's like a really windy chapter that can affect how your jumping works. So it's got some small mechanical innovations to keep things interesting. I'm winding down here. I'll say it's really polished, as you would expect from such a short nugget of a game. This is a very funny, specific thing to praise, but when I would start up a new play session of Jusant and I was at the main menu, it was like the usual options you'd expect. Oh, continue. Oh, looking your gallery. Oh, exit to the desktop. And they would show like a picture of your character, presumably in the latest chapter you left off of, just like chilling, sitting over a scenic view. I was like, okay, great. And then I went and hit the continue button from the main menu. And the part that impressed me of this game that I'm calling out in great detail right now is that instead of being greeted with a loading screen, that little portrait of your character sitting, it just
scales up.
It scales up and he stands up and you're seamlessly in the game. No loading screen. It was just, you're instantly in it. And that caught me off guard the first couple times it happened. I was like, oh, wow, we're here. So that was just a fun little extra bit of polish they threw into this game. I sound pretty hot on it. I'd say, in conclusion, Jusant is such a very easy game to recommend. It's hard to imagine anyone who tries Jusant having anything other than an enjoyable experience playing it. It doesn't demand a lot of your time. It's not super mechanically taxing. It hits you with fresh new ideas. It's beautiful to look at. It's a pleasure to play. But at the same time, I equally find it hard to imagine this being anyone's favorite game. For me, at least, the whole experience was just a little too short and a little too frictionless to leave much of a lasting impression. It almost went down too smooth. It all just like washed over me too fast. I was like,
you needed a Colossus to be climbable in a level or two.
Right. Something that really shook things up. The story, I'll say, it was not really holding my attention for most of it. It's a lot of environmental storytelling. There's a lot of notes you can find, which I didn't really feel compelled to read. This tower has seemingly been abandoned by its former inhabitants, and you can kind of figure out why. And at the very end, though, in the final chapter and how it all wrapped up, I did enjoy those story threads at the conclusion. I felt there was some payoff to this game that doesn't really have much of a story. They don't utter a single word of dialogue. It's one of those kind of games. So overall, yeah, I had a fun time with Jusant. Is it going to appear on my top 10 games I played this year list? Only if I play 10 or fewer games, probably. Otherwise, it's probably going to hang out, in the teens somewhere. But no, that was Jusant. I do recommend it only because it's so quick and easy and breezy. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I've been trying to workshop like an Eclipse joke for the longest time, but I'm mostly just upset that like, look at the lengths to which Chris will go to not play Death Stranding.
What do you mean? I completed that game.
He's like, I love the climbing and the footholds.
I rolled the credits.
I don't think Jeff Keighley is waiting on this tower like in some other games I've been playing.
Here's the Achilles heel. The main difference I'd highlight between Death Stranding and Jusant is that Jusant was 7 hours and Death Stranding was 50.
It was 70, yeah.
Oh my God.
Pick up and play.
And that's almost all I've been playing. Should we segue, Samantha, into a game we've both been playing a little bit lately?
Sure. We can start talking about that.
Sick.
So last year we played A Plague Tale: Innocence.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk about that game.
Oh, what do you want to talk about? Oh, I guess we're playing that together.
Yeah.
Chris and I have dove into Slay the Spire, which I've never played before. Chris has. I've played some on my own as well.
Returning to it after a 4-year gap.
Yes. So we've played 2 runs together and I've played a couple apart. Why don't you give the listeners a good description of the game and then I'll talk about it.
I'll just be very brief. Slay the Spire is just one of the best known dungeon crawling roguelike card games. It's a deck builder where you assemble your deck you're playing with over time. And you would try to ascend all 3 acts of, another game about ascending a giant tower.
I was trying to do that, yeah.
There are 4 different people you can start with, and they all each have like their own unique builds you can do. As of right now, I've done the first 3. The first guy,
The Ironclad.
He's really good at building up his defense, and he has a big sword, and he's good at building up the attacks. He's pretty basic. I felt him very intuitive to use, in terms of like, how do I make this guy work? It's not that hard because he's just really like, you can make your number go up.
Probably why they force you to start with him.
Yeah, because he's definitely like more of an intro, approachable character. The second one, the Silent, her 2 major abilities are her poisoning people, and then she can generate a lot of shivs, which initially don't do a lot of damage, but they're free. And so if you can get a lot of them, or you can get them really powerful, like those tiny little knives are eventually going to start killing people like on first blow. The third guy,
The Defect,
he's kind of weird. He generates these orbs that circle around him and kind of do either passive damage to your enemies or passive boosts for yourself. And I've yet to play the 4th person. So far, my favorite has been the Silent. I liked her shiving ability. It was really fun to like shiv someone 12 times. Not in real life, but I've had 2 successful runs on my own. Chris and I have had nearly 2 together. I'm looking forward to seeing what the true ending is.
Yeah, this is very early days for you because we've seen what happens when we set you loose on a deck building roguelike card game, Balatro. You play it for over 100 hours.
I thought you were going to say Inscription. And I was like, yeah, I 100%ed Inscription because I'm crazy. This is a very stressful time in my life for me. So I'm really glad to have this game to fall back on because it's doing what I need it to do for my brain. I click start on the game and all of a sudden, all my brain is occupied by synergies and deck building. It's great. I'm having a great time. If anybody who's listening liked Balatro or liked Inscription, of course you're going to like Slay the Spire. You've probably already played it because I'm a little bit late to the party.
Understandable. How do you feel about, I guess, a wrinkle compared to Balatro and Inscription, the games you cut your teeth on, where those games, you aren't often, in fact, I don't think Inscription will even let you recycle through your deck a second time. Where in Slay the Spire, your deck size is far smaller. You'll draw a couple hands, and then your deck will be depleted, and a hole gets reshuffled, and you do it again.
I feel like it's a little different, but kind of the same, and I'll explain that. I feel like in Inscription and Balatro, you're much more incentivized to have like multiple copies of the same good card. Mm-hmm. Also, Inscription, it's not like your cards are dying every time. You know, Inscription's different. In Balatro, you're going to have similar copies of the same card versus this game. Maybe you only have like one copy of this really gamer card, but then you're going to see it multiple times.
Yep.
I like it. I think it adds some nuance to the game. I also like that to combat maybe like, okay, this card is so good, you're going to want to use it every turn. They have some cards that are exhaustible, which means once like per combat encounter, you can play it, but then it dies for the rest of that combat encounter.
It's exhausted.
Yeah. I also feel like you're much more incentivized to cull the herd in this game because you don't want to be drawing cards that are not good.
You're referring to trimming the chaff out of your deck.
Yes.
So that you don't have to draw it over and over again.
Yeah, I think another different thing about this game is that you get a completely fresh hand every turn.
Right.
So you can't really hold your good cards. Either you can use them now or you can't use them now and you'll see them later.
Use or lose.
Use or lose, unless it's like an exhaustible and then maybe you save it for later. Yeah, I really like it. I can't wait to play more. Some of the relics I've seen on Chris's phase, relics are like permanent abilities you get throughout the run, are much more powerful than what I've unlocked in my baby achievements. So I'm excited to unlock more cool cards, find new synergies, and maybe get to level 20.
Once you level up the difficulties.
Yeah,
Ascension level 20.
We'll see how rough my life gets if I get to level 20. Great game, though.
Yeah. How quickly did you say the game sucked you in? It seemed almost immediate.
I mean, you were just like one day I was over. You were like, let's play it just to get you on it. And then after we finished our successful run, you were like, how'd you like it? And I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to play this for like a couple months. You know, of course I was going to like it. It's my type of game.
Yeah. And then the next day I saw you were still online past midnight playing it.
Oh, listen, I had to finish my run. All right.
Heath, I'm curious, as a known Balatro enjoyer.
I'm gonna play it, guys. Stop hounding me. Slay the Spire is good. The art style is okay.
Some of the enemies are pretty cute.
I know I'll like it. I'm gonna do it.
Is it almost boring to you? Like it's a foregone conclusion you're gonna like it. So you almost don't feel the need to try it out.
Well, buddy, why have you yet to play Astral Chain? Because it's gonna be hot.
I know it's gonna be hot. The only reason I haven't touched Astral Chain is I'm kind of hoping when the Switch 2 comes out, it'll give it a performance boost.
Yeah, I'm looking for a performance boost out of my Spires.
Oh, okay.
That's what the sequel's supposed to be.
I see. But yeah, this return visit to Slay the Spire, I almost forgot how much I enjoyed it, which is crazy to say since I ranked it so high on my favorite games list. But I can immediately see I'm going to sink maybe a dozen more hours into it on this return visit. And I'm going to love it.
Fun fact, when I first met Chris and he was describing this game to me, like when we were first dating, I kept thinking he was saying Slay the Spider. And so my vision of this game was like Chris was fighting a really big spider.
Just over and over again.
Yeah, I guess so. And I was like, I don't know why he thinks I'm going to like this game.
It takes an hour to chop off each leg.
Oh, God. No.
But that's Slay the Spire. It's still very good.
Yeah. I'll be playing it probably in the background for quite a while. I don't know how much more I'll talk about it.
We'll get your thoughts once you've seen the last class and
the ending.
Have seen the true ending and maybe seen some of the more advanced synergies.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. We shall transition. Heath and Samantha, the floor is going to be yours. You have both finished Nier Automata. I am so proud of you guys. This was not on my 2025 bingo card, but I'm glad it happened.
Why don't you lead off, Heath?
All right. Picture me all up in that meat box. And then I turn on my Nintendo Switch and I start playing some Nier Automata.
What?
Timestamp Warriors, I'm going to throw you a bone. Nier Automata, it's still like an 8 out of 10 game. I do recommend it. Nier Automata is like a Renaissance fair. It's loaded with attractions. There's swords and music and cool character designs. All the environments feel lived in, and if you're dedicated enough, you can dive deep into the text-based lore and some pretty adult themes. Chris survived last episode, all thanks to the shield of It's Explained Later.
Which I cannot rely upon anymore.
Somewhat dented, he carried the shield in his arms back home and lay it on the table. He knew for this episode, he'd need something stronger. One Iron Man montage later, Chris emerges from his basement, the metal plates gliding against each other with every step. Ready to slay the dragon, he dons the suit of, don't worry about it, and charges toward me at full speed. We'll start with what I liked. I liked that Anemone and A2 remember each other from their time back in Nam. I love a good bloodlust body swap. Whether it's 9S stabbing or Batman punching or Kratos punching, I like it when the recipient of the violence gets swapped for like somebody you care about and be like, oh, it's not who, it's the video games are the only medium that can do this. Strike that. Movies can also do this. Books can also maybe do PowerPoints can do this, but I love that mechanic. And then the third thing I liked was ending E. I never watched Dragon Ball.
Me neither.
Me neither. I know what you mean when you reference Dragon Ball.
Strangely, so do I.
The lending of power, like being the recipient of all the power of everybody raising their hands and stuff. It must be what like church summer camp feels like at the end. If they have to sing a kumbaya for like the parents is like, look at what we did all summer. That elevated the experience, which is why I can see Chris holds it in such high regard.
I could say things I liked before you start tearing things apart.
Yeah, go. Yeah, Heath. It sounds like Heath didn't take his morning haterade. We're getting there.
Yeah, let's stay in kumbaya mode as long as possible.
I liked everything Heath mentioned. In addition, I liked the character of Pascal. I liked his whole arc. I thought it was really interesting. He was just my favorite character. I liked whenever he was on my screen. His voice acting is really funny because of how high-pitched his voice is. It makes him seem very silly.
And how about the conclusion of his arc? I don't know if we're going to spoilers yet.
I'm hoping that the Japanese voice actor is just the most war-weary samurai for that specific part where he's like, I have failed my people. Please, the most honorable thing to do is kill me.
I think we should have a spoiler section later.
Okay, we will clearly mark it.
Yeah, because I don't want to spoil anything.
Did you build the slide? I failed to build the slide.
I built the slide.
Is that in Pascal's village?
Yes. I built the slide for the kids, and you got to see them slide down it.
Does the sister bot slide down?
I didn't see her slide down it. I liked that upon completion of some of the side quests, the music changed. And depending on like the tone of the end of the side quest, when an android goes off to like presumably kill herself, it's like a very somber, very tragic score that begins to play. Versus when you bring the little sister back to the robot village, it's like happy-go-lucky, sweet children music. I thought that was a really nice touch.
You said one of your favorite musical tracks in the game was delivering the flower to your operator?
Yes. The music that plays after that, I thought was quite beautiful. It was like very emotional, especially because of what happens later with the operator and the flower. How tragic. I liked optimizing my chips. I thought that was fun. So I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it as much, Heath.
No, I just feel like your mileage totally hinges on how much you like combat. If Chris approaches me and Samantha and says, hey, you guys should play XYZ, it has the combat of Nier Automata, I would go like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't sell it on for me.
But if Chris goes, hey, you should play XYZ, it has as satisfying ending as much as Nier Automata, we would be like, must play.
Yes.
On the one hand, the climax of the game is gate-kept by some lengthy battles. On the other, those battles wouldn't have been so lengthy had I taken the time to optimize my chips, change my weapons, or hack virtually ever.
You're saying you didn't hack very much in the B route or C route?
I hacked during a boss battle Once the combos got me so far and we were entering minute 4, just to spice it up a little.
Oh,
The combat in Route B is much expedited by hacking. However, you need to be good at hacking for that to be true. So I also had some lengthy boss fights.
I see.
Yeah.
I didn't use a single hacking chip. I thought they were all dumb.
Devila and Popola's chips were game changers.
Oh my God, the one that lets you pick up items just by walking. Oh my God. Yeah, best chip in the game.
Best characters in the game.
Yeah, they're really cute.
I mean, for the amount of screen time they do excellent work.
I've heard they get more backstory in
I hear
Nier
they killed
Replicant.
humanity.
Yeah,
Devila and Popola fans, check out the first Nier game as well.
they're really cute. I enjoyed learning a little bit more about their backstory. And when I was like, Chris, they didn't really explain this thing. He was like, yeah, you should have played Nier Replicant. And I was like,
I
okay.
didn't say you should have. I said one could explore it for more context.
Yeah. So that's where that's
I would
lingering.
not personally point someone to playing Replicant first. It's a much rougher experience.
Yeah.
You have to segue the goodwill of Automata into Replicant to enjoy that game.
You saying that makes me less interested in Replicant.
Yeah, I don't think it's a must play.
I feel like I could just watch a YouTube summary and be like, okay, I got what I needed to. Sorry.
That could suffice.
Yeah. Sorry, Replicant fans and Chris.
I was so excited when the tower was like, get ready for your sweepstakes prize. And then the prize is just a conclusion I already drew.
Which was?
Oh, yeah, ready? Because there's like 5 revelations that I think they have.
Shall we go through them chronologically?
Sure.
While ascending the tower.
Oh, I was thinking from...
I pick you up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the aliens attacked.
Yeah.
Right.
And humanity was like, we're going to take this L. Let's go rocket up to the moon and just wait for another day.
Wait for the androids to kill all those aliens.
So that we can walk on in back to Earth like it never happened.
Yeah.
9S does some digging, which is in his programming to do, like habitually.
He's a scanner unit.
He's fated to always discover this.
Yes.
That humans done been bones for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it is part of the YoRHa ethos to believe in this higher power that humans are chilling on the moon to make them fight harder.
And to make the androids not depressed.
Because it was affecting morale.
Yeah.
Until one guy was like, we could spin a little yarn that the humans are.
If we say they're humans, it might fix a lot of problems.
The religious allegory working thumb up from Heath.
Mm-hmm.
Not 2 thumbs, just a thumb.
Okay. We'll take it.
It's pretty good, though.
The second revelation is that black boxes are just machine cores.
Yes.
But instead of a circle, they're a cube.
It's like that one Dr. Seuss book.
The Sneeds. The star-bellied Sneeds.
Yeah. It's like they're just, it's racism. It's like there's no difference really between like the thought process of the machines and the thought processes of the androids. They're like the same underneath all the sexy exterior.
Drawing lines of distinction is completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
A2 fights a boss in the desert and then gets mind-jacked into computer land. She runs across 2B's memory figment persona. And A2 is like, oh, why you gotta burden me with all your memories and stuff. And then a blocky incognito filter
Yeah.
cyber figure keeps going, mama. Is that suggesting that A2 is the mother of some sort of machine-based thing?
She's the 2E models, which we'll cover in a minute, are all based off A2. So I don't know if that qualifies her as their mother, but she kind of is their mother.
In a sense.
And the biggest sense a machine can give birth.
Because 2B's final words, I think, were take care of 9S.
Yes.
So that alone gives A2 motherhood status.
Yeah.
Or did she mean take care of him?
Okay, I love you. Yes, you did.
Should we go over that revelation?
Sure.
So it's revealed that 2B is not 2B. She's actually 2E.
E stands for executioner.
And her job is to cyclically kill 9S whenever he discovers or is close to discovering that humans are actually alive.
Or
Not-
not alive.
Or not alive. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Humanity is extinct.
Humanity's extinct. So she's stuck in this endless cycle of knowing 9S, him meeting her for the first time, because every time he's killed, it's like his memories are reset, and having to watch him like learn that humanity is extinct and then killing him. You even see her kill him 2 times during the first run of the game, and you're just like, those both seemed very normal. So yeah, that's her burden.
What do you mean by that?
Like, she kills him in the first fight sequence when they
Yeah,
touch.
I know that, but you're saying that it's blasé. It was like routine for her.
I don't think it was an accident that she killed him those 2 times, is what I'm saying.
It's not her first rodeo.
Yeah.
She's been killing him for a while at this point.
Yeah, and then she chokes him at the end, which we did say would make more sense later why it was such a weirdly framed scene, and it's because of her cyclical killing of him. Like, she knows him better than he'll ever know her.
Yes.
Okay.
I take exception to 2 things.
Okay.
One is 2B is not the only executioner unit.
Right.
In the very start of the game, when you're doing the flying tutorial,
Yeah.
you were accompanied by 5 other units.
Yeah.
The one all the way on the left is 7E. The E units are basically Android internal affairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their day job is to fight the machines.
Yeah.
But they got this side hustle of absolutely narking their comrades.
Their
Okay,
comrade.
but the
So when that 7E unit gets blasted in the opening sequence, I imagine the other units are like, "Whew, all right,
But-
that's a weight off our shoulders."
you have to remember the E units that are like publicly E units aren't actually E units, if that makes sense.
Oh, is that true?
The IRS is, or not the IRS, the internal services here is secret. Like 2B's label is 2B, and everyone's like, oh,
To avoid 9S's suspicion.
she's a combat droid.
Right.
She's there just to fight. So like, I don't think they know what like 7E is probably just like another combat guy.
I would presume most androids in YoRHa don't know there even is an E distinction.
Yeah.
Guys, I think that Yoko thought of a cool twist at the end and forgot he put a 7E in the opening sequence.
It does raise some questions.
That's
where
the
I'm
only
like,
other E in the game.
how strange, but I don't know. I feel like it's just some random guy. I don't think he's the internal services.
I think the initial thought was like, well, we're going on an operation. We got to have one of each skill type.
yeah.
And the absence of the E.
That would be very suspicious.
So that was my first gripe. My second gripe is you said everything is going to make sense once you know the big twist that 2B is actually 2E and that she's killed him 48 times.
Yeah.
As soon as 2E murks a 9S unit, does the commander get an email notification to like start printing another 9S?
Well, it's like they're constantly printing new bodies.
Yeah, he's popping out the vending machine.
It's the code that's the problem. So like he's basically getting reset to fresh off the line
yeah.
every time. So he has like, maybe they run him through some initial training so they don't have to do that multiple times.
Factory reset.
Factory reset. He's essentially set back to his last save.
Chris, how much of a return on investment must 9S be for them to justify what marginal gains is the 47th 9S?
It does seem awfully costly.
Dude, he scans so good.
right.
No other scanner unit could possibly.
When I was in charge of 9S, he wasn't even good at his job.
No, he's just jumping,
Jumping.
sliding.
Just shooting like 2B could. Yeah, that's a good point, Heath.
So other okay, get ready for mega spoilers. I think other cyclical works of fiction do the mercy killing better than 2B's depiction. If that were true, that she's killed him like 48 times, it would help me, the player, if I just saw like a quick brain dance montage of all the ways, whether it's drowning probably at one point, pushing a piano off of a building, show me. Because it feels like the most important part of the narrative is told to me, not shown.
Heath
Sure.
wants a slapstick montage at like one of the most poignant parts of the game.
That's what the Prestige does. When
Okay.
Hugh Jackman discovers that his magic trick machine actually clones him.
Okay.
And he has to kill his clone for obvious reasons.
Right.
And the very last shot of the film is a morgue of all these tanks of water full of Jackmans.
Jesus.
And the last thing that his character says is, you think you've sacrificed stuff for your act? Take a look. This is his words.
Yeah.
I'm so good at dialogue.
Oh my
and
God.
then Palm Springs,
Okay.
the Andy Samberg comedy that I'm also ruining, shows a montage of all the failed runs. Mm-hmm. I needed to see that from 2B. It's not enough to choke him twice.
Okay.
I need to choke him thrice.
I see your point. I think it would have added to like maybe the horror of what she's gone through if you like see her progressively. Even they could show her feeling worse and worse about it each time.
I think that would be more potent storytelling. I agree.
Yeah.
Memento. Guy Pearce tells the story to the guy on the phone about Shelby something, or Percy Shelby.
Yeah.
Shelby Percy, who was another anterograde amnesiac? One of the amnesiacs.
Sure.
Who the insurance company would not fund his care because they thought he was faking.
Oh.
So he had to live with amnesia forever, and it was a financial drain on the family. And even his wife started to disbelieve and wanted to test it out herself. And he's responsible for injecting her for diabetes medication, getting her insulin shot.
That's crazy to give that responsibility to him.
So she goes, hey, Shelby, it's time for my insulin shot. And he just goes and does it, right? And then he watches an episode of Castlevania. And then, like, the same day, these doses must be separated. It's time for my insulin shot, and he goes and does it. And it's the cathartic moment of, wow, he really wasn't he faking it. This is a tragedy. And also, I'm going to die because I'm going to go into a diabetic coma.
Why didn't she stop him?
Movie reasons. And then towards the very end of the film, Guy Pearce is about to shoot the cool guy from The Matrix, Joe Pantoliano. I'm ruining all these great movies for you.
I have seen Memento and The Prestige.
I haven't seen either, but I did know the twist for both, so it's fine.
Joey Pantoliano is like, you fool, you're the guy in that story that did the insulin shot thing. That wasn't something you heard. And the audience sees the actor Guy Pearce in place of the black and white flashback anecdote, which does a much better job than if A2 just says, she killed you 48 times. Yoko copied a bunch of things from Blade Runner for this game. He needed to copy one other thing. So that was my second gripe with 2E. I loved the loading screen secret pod chat.
Yes.
Chris is thinking of, there's a pod right here, there's a pod right here. And at one point, they're like, let's speak in code, I think.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm referring to.
Okay.
I'm referring to when it's like it's a loading screen. The one that you've seen a dozen times before where it's like, YoRHa, the glory of mankind. And then it's like, black box temperature, green vitals. And there's text that shows up that's like, hey, pod 42, this is pod 153. What the fuck is going on? And pod 42 is like, this isn't like a designated... We are in a loading screen. There's an icon on the top right that's spinning to show the player that the game hasn't frozen. Pod 42 is like, no, I know. We gotta talk. And they didn't really say anything of substance, but I loved that it was not a fourth wall break, but it was just like immersion. It blew my mind to have a dialogue sequence in a loading screen. I can't say it enough.
Playing around with your expectations of how a game works.
Attaboy, Yoko. A2 has a busted filter.
Yeah.
Runs to the resistance because, of course, they're going to have the filter. And as she runs up, she meets Pascal for the first time. A2's never met Pascal before.
Yeah.
And Pascal is like, whoa, don't kill me. I'm not like these robots. I'm a pacifist. You got to believe me. And A2 is like, I don't believe you. And Pascal is like, well, if it makes you happy, I'll let you kill me. And you have the choice.
This is way different than the first time you actually met Pascal and you killed him immediately. Via motion control.
Via motion, yeah.
This one's for real.
Yeah, I would think you'd have to be a straight psychopath or a completionist to pick yes, kill Pascal.
I imagine that leads to ending F.
Oh.
Because 2 seconds later, A2 meets with Anemone And A2's like, make with the filter. And
Yeah.
Anemone's like, we are fresh out, but you know who has filters?
Yeah, as I saw that information, I was like, I'm glad we didn't kill him.
You know how all the funny endings happen immediately?
Yeah.
I hope. I'm never going to look this up.
I hope you talk to an enemy and then credits roll. Yeah.
And A2 just like jims the camera and goes,
You hear like the Curb Your Enthusiasm music playing.
yes.
Are you saying it's ending F for filter?
Yes, that's why. That's why it's ending F, I hope.
Because the game also filters you.
Yeah.
Because you made the bad choice.
Yeah, because you killed Pascal. Yeah.
I deleted Pascal's memories.
Yeah, I did too.
All right, the conclusion of
Okay, but
Pascal's
we should
story.
discuss what happened to Pascal. So in Route C, directly after they have you get even more attached to the villagers, particularly the children, if you're like me, and built them a goddamn slide so they could have fun.
I went to the desert and I got those parts. And then on
Yeah.
A2 is just carrying the parts. And then she sees a burning treehouse.
So yeah, you return to Pascal's village. Everything's on fire. Remember I talked about on an earlier podcast, the little sister robot who turned out to be really big and she had a really cute pink bow on her head. And it was like kind of like an escort mission where I escorted her out of the desert. She was really funny. I really liked that quest just because I thought she was so hilarious. You can see her burnt out corpse if you're curious.
Pulls no punches.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh no. I guess she doesn't count as a child. The machines are eating each other. It's cannibalism run amok. Pascal's like, I got the children out. I can't do anything. And you're like, fine, I will try and help save the villagers.
He's still pacifist.
Yeah. I feel like he's like gonna die if he goes into this fight. And I was like, Pascal, I don't want you to die. So I sent him away. I tried to save the villagers. Obviously, I failed. None lived. They all ate each other. And then Pascal's like, don't worry, this is a big tragedy and the whole village is burnt down, but I saved all the children. And you go to where Pascal has all the kids. They're all very scared. So you're defending the stronghold the children have holed up in. Pascal's helping you out. You guys are shooting the robots. It's not going great.
Pascal's dialogue is like, I'll kill them. Just green eyes turned red.
Oh, do they? I forgot about that.
He has a positron cannon for a chest.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
It's the most Yoda dropping his cane Attack of the Clones. Oh my God, this pacifist character is the best fighter imaginable.
So anyways, you fend them off. I forget what happens, why they...
You forget what happens. Pascal is like, I think I can do this. And Remy the Ratatouille's a giant mech out of the ocean. And you do a side fighting game shot.
Yeah. It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Godzilla versus King Kong. They
Yeah.
just punch each other at the speed of slow.
I never got hit during that fight. I was the queen of that fight.
Hearing these claps on against.
I don't think
Well
that was that
done.
hard. It was just fun.
I never died in the.
And then you're like, okay, yay, we fought off the robots. You go back to where all the children are holed up. They've all committed suicide because Pascal taught them what fear is.
As a defense mechanism.
Yeah, they're like, we're too scared to be alive.
They don't. Okay, audience. That is not said verbatim.
But they're all dead. And it's very clearly by their own means. So that's a really harrowing sight. You walk into like 20 dead children.
It's real Holocaust-ish.
And Pascal's like, oh God, I can't live with this. And you can't even blame him. And he's like, either please kill me or delete my memories because I can't account for what I've done, and teaching them like more about how to be more human. So yeah, I chose to delete his memories. I liked Pascal. I didn't want him to die.
It didn't even cross my mind that I could walk away.
Interesting.
You can walk away?
Hidden third option.
Did you get that live reaction?
Yeah.
Stupendous.
I don't know if
He
that's...
curses your name if you do.
I bet he does. I
He's
bet he
like-
goes on to kill himself.
He's like, how could you?
Yeah.
Ooh, can you even, is Asimov's rules, can you even kill yourself if you're a
I mean, the
robot?
children did it.
The kids are like, this is like a WikiHow video where it's like it's like the, just like, you will need one knife.
The kids are like, I don't know what you're talking about. It was easy.
And yeah, that scene, very memorable.
I can't believe you can walk away. That's crazy.
But it's a recurring theme in Nier Automata, a game very interested in examining various existential philosophical ideas. But the conclusion of Pascal's storyline is a commentary, a response to the namesake, Pascal's wager.
That's Blaise Pascal?
Blaise Pascal, which for the uninformed mathematician who argued, we don't know for sure if God exists or not, but you'll benefit more if you choose to believe in God out of fear of eternal damnation, because if you're wrong and God does exist, infinite downside. If you're wrong and God doesn't exist,
you're no worse for wear.
No worse for wear. But the game tries to illustrate choosing to structure your whole life around a fear of God and the fear of the unknown. You only have this one given life you know for sure you have. Why live it in fear? Look at what fear did to these kids who were consumed by it.
And a lot of gay children in America who've killed themselves would agree, I would say, to the Pascal who says there's no downside to religion. Not to get too controversial on this podcast, shall we discuss more twists?
Sure. Let's keep the train rolling.
All right. I died once at the 2 orb fight.
2 orb fight?
You know, it's like there's the 2 big circles. A2's fighting one, 9S is fighting the other.
Yeah.
And then they link up later.
Yes.
And that first part I died.
Oh, during the elevator?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That elevator was long.
It was so long.
How could that tower be that tall?
Heath, I was 90% through it when I died, so trust me, I know how long it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Not fun.
Hey, what even is the tower?
Oh, it's a
gun?
cannon.
Or is it an arc?
It's an arc.
What?
It's not a gun, it's an arc. That's like another reveal we should talk about, which is as they're ascending the tower, 9S is like, OMG, it's going to be a huge missile launcher. I know humanity is all dead, but their genetic information's on the moon or whatever, like their whole history. And it's going to go shoot the moon, essentially like killing God metaphorically. And then if you do ending D, you find out it's not a missile, it's an arc. And the machines just want to like send their information to the moon to be with God. That's the twist, yeah?
I mean, I didn't know who to trust at that point.
Why would they invite
like
me on the missile? You know, like what's the reason? Adam's like sitting around just like being chill for once and is like, you want to come? And I said, sure.
Well, that's why I disbelieved it, because it was like such a congruous for all the characters that I came to know.
I just thought maybe he'd mellowed out.
You got that late game burnout.
Just like me.
Oh gosh, fighting Operator 210.
Yes. Oh God.
It didn't land with me.
Did you do her side quest?
I did not.
Well, there you go.
Who is Operator 210 assigned to?
9S.
Oh yeah, there's Operator SO who is assigned to 2B, and she was killed when the
With
bunker
the mind virus.
was corrupted.
Did you say 60 just now?
60.
Oh, sorry.
210 is like at the top of the hacking tower in Route C, and you gotta kill her too. I didn't like that. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't as bad as hearing 6O's corrupted voice talking about the desert flower picture I got her, but it was still pretty bad. I didn't like it. What were you going to say about it, Heath?
I was going to say maybe it would have had more narrative weight if there weren't just like another boss right after it.
Uh-huh.
And if I had more to do with 210.
My critique of both of the interactions I just said that were like emotional for me, they should have made some of these side quests mandatory. I feel like if you miss out on helping 6O and 210, those moments are just not going to land.
Far less impactful.
I almost thought they were like crocodile tears.
Ah.
That she was just saying whatever to get a competitive edge in the fight.
I mean, she might have been, but like if it's referencing specific things that you've discussed with her, then it's like maybe she is just saying those things to get the edge, but it like still hurts, you know? It's like if Chris had a mind virus and he started referencing things we'd done. Yeah, I guess he's probably just doing that to get the edge on me, but it's still gonna hurt.
He's like,
Still gonna suck.
he's like, you were mouthing off to me in Tampa. This is my Chris boss voice. I felt rushed when we were getting our bags. Hey, shout out to 9S, the virus which caused 2B minutes of struggling only to die. 9S, arm comes off. Oh, look, here's a 2B arm. And just USBs that onto his elbow.
Uh-huh.
And Pod is like, You just did the equivalent of using a dirty needle, and now you have AIDS.
Yeah.
And 9S is like, no problem, hacks himself and just shoots all the virus away and just Control Z's what brought down all of YoRHa up until this point.
He did that initially too, though. Remember, like when you're first getting attacked by the YoRHa units because of the mind virus. The only reason he and 2B weren't toast at that point is because he hacked himself and then he hacked her.
No,
Yeah.
it's because they didn't sync up at the point of the virus infiltration.
They were hacked.
They were like they
No, 9S.
they opted
okay.
to not back up their data.
But he did hack them. I remember him hacking
He
them.
hacked her so that she could hit, so that friendly fire was unlocked.
Oh, okay. Okay, maybe that was it.
Trust me, I'm the Nier expert.
I
at the
guess
table.
so. Did I even play this game?
I don't know. Hey, the actual fight against 9S.
Yeah.
Another thing I just love when video games do. His hacking you, causing
Okay.
Yeah.
the jump button to be the attack button and the attack button to be the start button.
This is during the A2 9S face-off.
The
Yes.
final battle of ending sequence.
Very,
Yeah.
I forgot that detail. That's excellent.
I mean, he does other things, right? He'll compromise. You can't jump, which is fine. But I love when they invert controls. Try doing the hacking minigame sequence, but left is right and right is left.
Oh, God.
Thumbs up from Heath. There's the second thumb.
Yeah.
Okay, we found it.
Yeah, we found it. Whose sword was the moose staring at the end of ending D?
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
And why?
There's a lingering shot on a moose.
It's before it whites out to the main menu.
Crazy.
You know what? I remember being unclear about that too, because I was like, the swords are like in the tower.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Everything's in the tower.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how that got there.
Well, maybe the pod put it back there. 'Cause
I guess
apparently,
so.
as soon as the game ends, the pods just reset everything. Makes zero sense. 2B is alive? How?
Are
Can
we
the
gonna?
pods just fix? It's a total tabula rasa.
Let's talk about Route E, shall
There we
we?
go. Yeah, we made it.
We made it to Route E,
So-
the final one.
We suffered many losses at the hands of the Legal and Intellectual Property Division.
What is that from?
The credits. I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You've seen 9S die. A2 is probably dead. It's just bad times. And the pods are basically just like, hey, maybe there's a way to like give them one more chance and they can live through it again.
Hold up. I mean, before they said that, the pods are like, well, all YoRHa black box signals are offline.
Mission accomplished, boys.
Let's execute public domain, erase everything.
Yeah. And then one of the pods is like, what if we didn't do that? What if we were cool and brought back our 3 favorites?
You don't have the authority to do that.
I'm not asking.
You would be going against protocol to do that.
Who's alive to check my protocol?
Whether or not they're alive doesn't mean that we don't follow the rules.
I can't remember what he said.
So one of the pods was a stick in the mud.
Your pod is like, you wanted them to survive too, didn't you?
Yeah. Then you go through this long shooter of fighting the credits of the game. You have to individually shoot a lot of the different people who made the game and the like the headings, like for all the voice actors, like there'll be a voice actor, little text, and that's like a miniature boss. Like it shoots out more pips.
In the context of the game,
Yeah.
the credits fighting you, I internalized as shell fighting you. It's the program constructs trying to make you do what you've been programmed to do, which is erase all the data.
It's kind of like the ultimate fighting of God and your creators.
Which is excellent.
Yeah.
Third thumb up from Heath. I should get that looked at.
But how's that defeating the credit scroll going? Probably pretty arduous.
So I was doing very well up until Square Enix pops up.
No way. You made it to Square? What?
And then it's like, oh, you thought you were doing good? What if I just absolutely ate your ass? And I was like, okay, died several times in a row.
I couldn't make it past the cast.
It took me on my 3rd try, I made it to Square Enix, so it wasn't right away.
That's so far.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
I locked in. I was accessing parts of my brain I'd never used before.
We know it can be done because people have done it.
Right.
But that is unheard of.
Well, I mean, I immediately died, so it's not like I was like doing amazing.
No, but the journey of I was only using one stick. And then I almost beat ending E solo.
This is incredible character growth, Samantha.
Thank you.
But what happens?
So obviously I'm getting stuck there. And the first time I see rescue pop up, I should go back. Every time you die, there is a little quote from a user. Now, of course, as you're playing through the game, when you see dead bodies of like 2B or 9S littered around your environment, these are from like outside players. And so they get to choose like a little catchphrase, and then you touch the 2B body and you maybe get some cool resources or effects or something like that. This ending is the payoff for the entire game and specifically that feature, because now every time you die, you get a little message of encouragement from somebody else who's played the game saying something along the lines of, I know it was really hard. It was rough for me too. I believe in you. And then when you've died...
Wait, sorry. In addition to the quotes from your comrades,
yeah,
at the bottom is the game prompting you to like,
do you want to give up?
do you want to throw in the towel, you sissy baby?
Yeah, the game, each time you die, is like, you're ready to give up, aren't you? You're done. This is really hard. You can quit.
Are games just silly little things?
So we'll get to that. Eventually, you do so bad enough, you die enough times that it's like, hey, X username offered to rescue you. Do you accept their help?
I should have written down the katakana of whoever did it.
Yeah.
Shout them out.
So
well, yeah, I mean, that's like no one will that'll never happen again for me.
Right.
I would like to say everyone who opted to delete their data, a hearty thank you for me. I know the credits mentioned something along the lines of, you'll never be thanked for this. You'll never even know who gets to use this. I got to use somebody's data, and I deeply appreciate it. So just assume if you ever donated your data, I was the recipient.
So upon receiving the rescue request,
yeah,
you are just surrounded by your firepower 6 tuples.
All of a sudden, you are blasting through these names.
And I'm doing so well. At one point, one of the little magenta orbs passes through what I thought would be the hitbox of the outermost cursor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, oh, this isn't really a gameplay sequence. I'm invincible for like plot reasons. So I start playing, I lose all sense of self-preservation, and I come into the path of like an orange dot, and I get hit. And the right side of the screen in the lower third, it goes, Jiro's data was lost.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm so sorry. And then I straightened up immediately, and I was like, I can't. That was so much time wasted.
No more comrades are dying today.
Right.
How many comrades did you kill? Heath?
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So the actual bullet hell mechanic is not our favorite part of the game.
No.
But the way that it's contextualized with the music and the actual quantification of other people's time that I am now custodian of, I had such a sense of duty. We were all in this together and up against impossible odds because they just spurt out so many bullets at you.
Yes. At a certain point, I feel like the credits are nigh unbeatable. Like, I feel like the game...
It's absolutely been done.
I mean, I'm sure it has been by someone who's poured a lot of time into it. But it seems like the game would like you to die.
That's the intended experience.
Yeah, so you can get those progressively, the messages that go from, are you ready to give up, you stupid loser, to, our game's just silly little things. Is everything you've done up until now worth nothing to you? Do video game characters deserve any of your emotion or time? You know, stuff like that.
You know who's singing to you? Initially, the song is Weight of the World.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you receive the rescue, the vocals multiply. Mm-hmm. You know whose vocals those are?
Who?
It's the dev team. It's like Yoko Taro.
Wow.
And the rest of the developers.
That's crazy.
And just hearing my voice, listener, say how much of an impact this game mechanic that I had played a dozen times before gets amplified in the ending moments. And even after the moment where the pods sort of wax poetic about hope for the future for the 3 characters we've come to know.
Yeah.
That left me with more questions than answers. But I feel like the ending of Nier Automata is almost a division. So it's like it almost halves whatever rank he thought it would belong before that point.
Moving it up the list.
It cannot be overstated how good the ending is.
If Heath said that Nier Automata was the 20th best game, it is now the 10th best game.
Yeah.
Just cut whatever number it was, divided by 2. That is the effect of the ending of Nier Automata.
So,
they truly save the best for last.
let's talk about the finisher, which is when you have successfully finished defeating the credits and you're going to like reset the memories of 2B9S. We'll get to that in a minute. The game is like, hey, what would you say about deleting all of your save data? Yeah, all those side quests, unlockables, everything that you've worked so hard to do. You can delete it. And you know how those people saved you during that bullet hell and ending E? You can save someone else. What do you say to that? And I'm not a monster, so of course I said, delete my data. Go for it. I remember I hadn't cried at all watching the ending sequence. I thought it was very good. It was very emotional. When I was writing my message to give to other players that I was saving with my data, I broke down. I was like, oh my God. That was when like the togetherness of the moment hit me, is when I was taking part in defending someone else.
You were passing the torch.
I was passing the torch.
Do you remember what your message was?
Oh, yes. It was something along the lines of, I know it's hard, just remember I'm with you.
There's 2 messages you get to write, right?
Yes.
Initially, Pod 142 is like, do you have anything to say about the game?
Yeah.
And then the second one is, what do you have to say to the recipients of your generous act?
Yeah.
My first message after beating the game was like, I like the meal. However, I hate platinum games. Those were my favorites of the Mad Libs that I could have made. And then as far as the second one, I didn't write one because I didn't erase my data because I don't think I was prompted.
What?
It might be a consequence of the difficulty I played on.
Huh. Or maybe the platform, maybe the Switch won't let you?
Maybe like network connectivity skipped out for a half a second, but I went straight from that cutscene, I think, to the main menu, and I didn't erase my data.
Now you knew enough to be expecting the prompt, right?
Yes.
Because you've seen the other people's data get deleted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll discuss this part then because I actually deleted my
actually
data.
did it.
So what happens is before you delete your data, they're like, are you sure you want to do this? That's going to mean deleting everything you worked so hard for, all your collectibles. Yeah. You know, this could go and save someone that you don't even know. It could save someone you don't even like. You could hate this person.
It gives you every out.
They're never going to thank you.
Yeah.
Each time you have to click, yes, I still want to delete my data. They're like making it a point to say, this act is going to give you nothing.
It's thankless.
It's thankless. It's an act of altruism. And saying yes, despite all that, it feels like the end of, Chris, cover your ears. It feels like the end of the, oh my God, what's the route called in Undertale where it's not pacifist and not genocide, just like the normal route.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah, it feels like your first route in Undertale when you get to the end and if you mercy Flowey instead of kill him. Because the game doesn't just let you click mercy and it's over and you roll credits. You have to keep selecting it as Flowey goes, you know, given the chance, I would do these same things again.
Yeah.
I would kill you right now if
I could. I'll kill all your friends.
I'll kill them all.
Yeah.
Just watch me. If you let me live, I will kill them all. It's such a powerful moment because you are like making the decision to be the better person despite the game telling you that it's stupid to do so. And that moment in Undertale has always really stuck with me. Like I've talked to plenty of people who just kill him. And I'm like, I feel like you're missing out on such a powerful moment, knowing in your heart that you chose to extend mercy to someone who didn't deserve it. Not that people don't deserve it in Nier. It's just more that like it's so unknown to you who's getting it that like maybe you don't think that person deserves mercy or something along those lines.
Also, phenomenal execution on the actual portrayal of your save data being deleted.
Oh, yes. They painfully go menu tab by menu tab and show you like it'll click on the first item and then delete it. And then you'll see the whole page just go blank.
They just drag it out.
And it kind of works. You would think that's boring, but I was kind of like, it felt like I was making the sacrifice because I got to see it happen. You know, it was like more resonant with me for watching it.
Do you feel robbed in any way with this turn of events, Heath?
I had to look that up.
I'm sorry. Hey, did I save you by any chance? I was curious.
Yeah, we were like, with Samantha's finishing so close to Heath, we were like, maybe her data will come in for him.
You know what? Let's just assume that it did. The presence of mind you would have to eye the right side of the screen that says such and such's data was lost.
Yeah.
As you're trying to fight a never-ending barrage of bullets.
Yeah.
Impossible to do. But I saw at the very end it says 2B's data was lost or something like that. But that might just been like a creative.
I saw that too. I thought it was just somebody's name.
I read into it a lot.
Interesting.
But let's assume that you did rescue me and then I didn't pass the baton.
That's fine. I read somewhere that actually you can rescue like 4 to 5 people. You don't just rescue one person. Like your data is used a couple times.
That would make sense. Otherwise, I feel like the rescue data economy would be
it would be
barren.
shit. Yes. There are 2 more things I want to talk about. One of them is, oh my God, Heath, talk because I can't remember.
Oh, fishing. Okay.
Here we go. The ending message, Heath doesn't know this because he didn't do it. The message you can give to players when you like delete your data, it can vary pretty wildly. You can tell people to straight up give up. You can say, you're a pussy ass loser.
Yeah.
Go home, bitch. I could do it and you couldn't.
Yeah.
You can be mean.
Yeah.
And in the menu screen, you get progressively more messages. I think you get 10 or so on your screen. I never saw any message that was anything but keep going. You can do it. I believe in you.
Speaks volumes.
Yes. And maybe that's just me being like sentimental, but knowing in hindsight that they could have been mean, I guess the kind of person who would delete their data wouldn't choose to, but it was very nice. I have one more thing I'd like to say about Nier, but I'll let you close your thoughts on the game. Heath.
Also, it said what countries they're playing from.
Yes, and it was pretty varied.
It was pretty varied, and that really cemented the fact that they are total strangers.
Yes, we are the world.
Pretty much, especially I'm dipping a little into politics right now with what we're doing to Canada. I really felt like I didn't deserve it.
I got Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hard time give me 5 guesses of where that is.
Yeah.
Chris, I don't know. I liked it more than Dishonored, but less than Mass Effect.
I'll take it because I am so encouraged by how much the ending seemed to resonate with you, Heath. I didn't know if you'd think it came off as a little too saccharine, a little too cheesy. And truthfully, I didn't think you would make it to ending E. I thought you would have flunked out far earlier. I know this isn't up your alley exactly, but you really stuck it out.
Yeah.
And the fact that it worked for you, I am so thrilled it worked so well. I've been loving this conversation.
Well, if nobody has any last thoughts on Nier, I have one thing to say about the ending, which I find interesting. So if we refer all the way back to 2B's opening monologue, she talks about how she feels like she's trapped in an endless cycle and that if she could, she would fight and kill God to get out of it because it's nothing but killing and death. Obviously, because she's trapped in this cycle to kill 9S. That's what she's literally talking about in that moment. And when the pods are talking about, if we reset them to game start or whatever, isn't the same thing just going to happen again? Aren't they all going to die in the same way? And the other pod is but what if they don't? What if something changes? I have to wonder if 2B would agree with your decision to reset the cycle. It seemed like she was pretty damn tired of the cycle. So I have to wonder if your emotional decision to bring back the characters that you know and loved was truly based on what's best for them or what made you feel better. It's kind of the same thing as walking away from Pascal instead of deleting his memories or killing him. Yeah, you feel good because you didn't hurt your favorite character, because if you didn't think Pascal was your favorite, you're a monster. But Pascal's not the better for it. He certainly is going to be extremely miserable. He's likely going to kill himself if I know him at all. I guess I just thought it was interesting that 2B so openly laments the cyclical nature of her life in the opening monologue. And if you hit replay the game immediately after you delete your data and have reset the cycle, it's going to feel like an accusation. She's going to be telling you, asshole, I didn't want to be woken up. Let me die. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, the opening monologue upon a repeat viewing comes with a very different context, I imagine.
Yes. Other than the whole, like, okay, yeah, she doesn't like that she's kill 9S all the time because, like, who would? But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was an interesting way to end things given how they started.
Very interesting. That I hadn't considered that before.
I only remember what the opening monologue was because Chris sent me some YouTube videos to watch about this game.
Did you see Ending G, the George Super Bunny Hop video, Heath?
I watched George's video. George had more to say about the actual philosophical roots of characters like Pascal. I was actually hoping he would better explain the war itself.
Go play Nier Replicant is the answer I was told.
To me, it's funny because usually that would bother me. The lingering plot holes and the minutia of the lore of the game, of the actual series of events that happen. But I feel like it's all purely in service to the themes.
Somewhere in the library, when I was reading these texts, and I was like, hold on, I'm lost. I just gave up on trying to understand all of the lore. I was just like, okay, this is one of those games where it's about the vibes.
To my co-hosts and any listeners who have really enjoyed Nier Automata but haven't taken the plunge into Nier Replicant, I'll caution you first by saying it's a far rougher experience. When you hear about replaying roots, that is far more truthful in Replicant, where a lot more content is verbatim repeated. However, I guess my final plea or point of encouragement to try Replicant is that yes, it'll flesh out some lore and interesting context for Automata, but also, I guess, the real reason to play Replicant that might convince my co-host someday to check it out is that the ending, while different, stands side by side nearly equal to Automata's.
That is high praise.
Yeah,
it is high praise.
That seems astronomically high.
The journey to get there, though, is going to be more painful.
Oh, I just want to note, if anyone on this podcast has ever heard Heath or Chris reference the part in the game where you have to carry a bucket of water, and Chris like overly lamented this part. He made me think it was going to be like a 20-minute segment in this game. Listener, you can get through it without error in less than a minute. If you're Chris, it probably takes several tries. Just like use your brain and be like, oh, this robot's going to trip over that object that they're very obviously going to trip over. I will just move around it.
It did not take me several tries. It took me 2 tries.
But the amount I've heard about it, you would have thought those 2 tries took you like an hour. So yeah, don't let that stop you from playing the game. It's not that big a part of the game.
It's not, and I thought it was.
Me too.
I was purporting something that I kept that myth going.
Yeah. Chris
Like
was just whining about it, I guess.
If we examine the record, I'm pretty sure it's exclusively Heath who brings it up.
I second
Where did
that.
he hear about it, though? Because he
Donkey
didn't
video.
play the game.
The
Okay.
Ducky video. Hey, Chris, what's happening next month?
Easter.
The Switch
The
announcement?
Nier Automata slated
That's
special
right.
event.
15-year anniversary since the first game. There are rumors that the third mainline Nier game, yes, I'm not counting the mobile game Reincarnation, the third mainline game is going to be announced next month.
Okay.
Did you play the mobile game?
Chris.
I did not.
Okay.
I hear it's actually pretty good. I think it's offline now.
Oh.
2B specifically is the most popular Nier character
Yes.
like Yoko Taro has ever made. As a Square Enix exec yourself, you would be crazy to think of producing Nier anything that doesn't include 2B. But 2B's character is so final
Yes.
in this entry of the franchise. How do you tie those two together?
You have something that looks like 2B, walks like 2B, claims to be 2B, and isn't 2B.
Oh, all I heard from Samantha was A2, A2, A2.
Yeah. I think you have it be a twist. Oh, it's not 2B. You just thought it was because it looks and talks like her. That's what I would say.
Speaking for Yoko Taro, I suspect there's no way he feels artistically compelled to center a new game around her again.
He do have that auteur clout. He can just tell Square Enix no.
I feel like he's just like, yeah, I'm not doing that, or I'm not making this game. And then Square Enix is like, okay, fine.
It just feels like to say no to another 2B anything is saying no to so much money.
Right. 2B on the cover locks in X number of sales day one.
It is a multiplier of your money dollars.
However, I suspect they'll just follow the formula. We have a new pretty face in the third
New
Nier
hot
game.
robot girl.
Her high slit is on the right side.
And at most, we get a 2B cameo, if that. Bunny suit next time, not maid outfit.
There was a maid outfit?
2B was wearing a maid outfit.
Oh, that's a maid outfit?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It is?
Oh, my
No.
God.
I believe so.
What?
What? Who cleans in that? Even in...
I got to get a maid.
She doesn't have an apron. Okay, Chris.
I'm pretty sure it's a maid outfit.
I'm pretty
All right,
sure
hey.
you've never seen a maid.
This is like a Victorian maid, perhaps.
They have aprons.
Hey, when we come back, audio listener, we're going to try to not talk about Nier. So see you then. And we're back. Right up the Erie Canal is the Video Game Hall of Fame for listeners from the same part of the country that Chris and I are from.
Located at Strong Museum of Play.
Home of things like Civilization. Well, sorry, I should absolutely. Talking and typing is hard.
Take your time.
Last time we talked about the Video Game Hall of Fame, we were weighing the merits of games like Myst and SimCity and Resident Evil 1 and Asteroids, whether or not they should be in the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Were those the 2024 nominees?
Those are the 2024 entries. They all got in.
Okay.
Okay, the nominees for this year that we have to pick four. Four? No, there's five one last time. We'll just say four. 4 out of the 12.
Okay.
All right. Starting off strong with Angry Birds.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the first mobile game nominee we've seen?
What counts as a mobile game? Because also nominated is Tamagotchi.
Oh.
That's mobile
yeah.
in like the archaic sense.
That's mobile before mobile games existed.
Right.
Yeah,
Those
right.
came with you.
GoldenEye 007.
Snooze, skip.
Games that nobody's played. Mattel Football.
I played that.
No way.
Yeah, my mom had one. I know what you're talking about. They have the big one at the Strong Museum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to understand because there aren't really instructions.
Just like think of like an early Game and Watch like football sports game.
Yeah.
A Game Boy before the Game Boy.
I remember making a touchdown once because I played it when I was a kid and being like, wow, I have no idea how I did that. How cool.
Oh my God, like 12 years before the Game Boy.
Wow.
Okay, so groundbreaking. Harvest Moon.
Oh. There must be a girl in the nominating committee.
The 1996, they do exist.
Yeah.
Japanese farm simulation role-playing game
Yeah.
for the SNES.
Okay. It was SNES, not even N64.
Not
You
even.
guys have heard of Harvest Moon, right?
Right.
Okay.
In name alone.
It's
Okay.
the inspiration for Stardew Valley.
Yeah, among others.
Golden Tee Golf.
Not a name I'm familiar with.
Golden Tee Golf. It had the little ball that you rolled.
Wow.
The white golf ball.
Oh my.
Just think of another handheld Game & Watch-esque
This
thing.
year seems very focused on like standalone devices that played a game.
Well, there's also games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Call of Duty
COD 4.
Yeah, COD 4. And Age of Empires,
Okay.
which we have
this-
a bone to pick with. They are just fleecing their pockets over there.
Yeah.
Right. There's a huge display at the museum just for Age of Empires.
I think Age of Empires basically guarantees it's in just by how much money they're paying the Strong
Just
Museum.
the Empire's lobby.
It shouldn't even be on that
Yeah.
list. Okay.
Quake. NBA 2K, like the original basketball game. Frogger.
Okay.
Okay.
And Defender. The 1981 Atari game that looks like this.
I'm just picturing Space Invaders.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Sort of side view.
I've played this game, I think,
No way.
on a collection on the PlayStation 1 of arcade games.
Oh, cool. Pick 4.
I vote for COD.
COD 4 is huge.
Yeah.
very influential on the multiplayer shooter space.
I'm also probably the only one voting for Harvest Moon, so I'm just going to say that now.
I like Harvest Moon a lot more than many of the other nominees, personally.
I feel like one of
Frogger.
the old mobile games deserves to be on there, but I don't know which one it should be. Like if it's Tamagotchi, or if it's Mattel football, or if it's the golf one.
I mean, Tamagotchi was the most well-known of the ones you just mentioned.
Which means it's probably Tamagotchi. Angry Birds making the list, I would understand it, but I don't know if I can support it.
You know what game Chris will play that has the Angry Birds theme
Oh
tune?
God, what?
Yakuza Like a Pirate pirate extravaganza.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think they're by the same publishing company. So much in the same way that in like Super Smash Bros. Brawl, you could unlock new music tracks by just playing the single player. While you're seafaring, you can shiver me timbers to da 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 da.
There's brand synergy there?
I heard it.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
I watched the boat sailing to it.
Then I'll absolutely turn up that banger.
Here's something you guys don't know about me. I've seen the Angry Birds movie, and it was as bad as you would guess.
Oh my gosh.
Probably
Just-
better than the
okay.
Sonic movies.
Seeing it, not horrible.
Is that by Illumination?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's like an in-flight movie, I can totally just pass that off. But if you paid money to see it in
No.
theaters.
Oh God, no. Can you imagine?
Okay, so in conclusion, Heath's picks were Frogger, Tamagotchi, GoldenEye 007,
Damn.
and
COD 4. No?
Do you have a bone to pick with COD 4?
the Hall of Fame. Well, I never played it,
Yeah, I haven't either.
and it invented Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's why I'm putting it on there.
Yeah, I'm trying to be impartial. I'm trying to not sound like a filthy American.
I feel like out of all the nominees, that one has had the widest influence.
It changed middle school boys forever.
It coined unlocking persistent upgrades in your multiplayer mode.
Yeah, it's got to be on there.
Not even just that, just how many games took that formula to get the hooks into people returning to multiplayer matches, not just for the intrinsic fun of play anymore, but for seeing that XP bar cross the threshold after completing your match and getting a new doodad to play with in the next match, a new scope, a new attachment.
Now it's pretty shocking to see like a multiplayer game where like there aren't persistent,
Right.
like you're not getting some kind of persistent upgrade or something.
The only case where that's absent would be like battle passes,
Yeah.
where you're not prestiging, you're just earning these rewards in the window they're offered.
Yeah.
And then next month are different rewards.
Yeah.
The battle pass is the ugly stepchild of the prestige multiplayer
Yeah.
mechanic.
It's like that, but worse.
But I don't know if we get to battle passes without COD
No,
4
I'm
being
not
there.
saying we could.
Yeah, they're the children of it.
All right, fine. So yeah, by the time we record next episode, no, May is when they get confirmed.
Okay.
But we are rooting for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Frogger, Tamagotchi, and Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, as someone who has to advocate for the cozy games here, because you guys would never dare.
Piku Niku my number one game of the year.
Okay, Heath's played Animal Crossing, so this is more for Chris. Yeah. Cozy games are very big, just not with you.
I don't have a cozy bone in my body.
You gotta give them the credit they're due.
I sleep on wooden planks.
I remember hearing about Harvest Moon when I was a kid. Obviously, it's like before my time, but I know girls my age who'd played it. So, yeah, Harvest Moon it is.
Yeah, it's an influential game.
It's for girls.
I'm happy to see it.
Other snubs from years past. Guitar Hero didn't make it in the most recent class. Angry Birds has been nominated as early as...
In 2023.
And so is Call of Duty. These guys have just been circling the drain.
So is GoldenEye and NBA 2K
So is Age of Empires. The check hadn't cleared yet.
and Quake.
They're
wow.
dying to get in.
We're just repeating 2023's nominations.
We really are.
Oh man, Frogger was trying to get in back in 2020.
Frogger's had a long journey.
I'm surprised Smash Bros. Melee didn't make it in. Has there been a Smash Bros. In the Hall of Fame yet?
No.
Wow.
Definitely not. If there were, it would be Melee.
Probably. Yeah, I'm glad Candy Crush didn't make it in.
What do you think, audio listener?
Yeah, write us any of your thoughts.
Tell us that you love Age of Empires and you spend every day in that wing of the Strong Museum.
Let us know all those thoughts and more at the email address mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com. Before we close out, Heath, I just wanted to get your quick top-of-the-mind thoughts. We haven't heard any of your thoughts on the lengthy 10-minute plus trailer that dropped a couple weeks ago about Death Stranding 2.
Oh, I saw like a screen grab of it.
Okay,
where
you haven't seen it.
What was the name that they were giving the president of Death Stranding 2? Abraham Lincoln Washingberg or just some sort of like the most American president thing ever. No, I haven't seen it.
By design, since you don't want to see too much before the game comes out?
When does the game come out?
The release date was announced along with the trailer. It's coming out in June.
That is so soon.
That is so soon.
Before or after we do our draft?
It'll come out in late June, and we're going to do our draft in early June. So people will be able to pick it up for our fantasy publisher draft.
How interesting.
I'll say less for that reason. No, I mean, Hideo Kojima likes to make trailers more than he likes to make games. But where does that weigh on Heath's excitement barometer? I don't know, Chris. If you were like, is there a dog in this one?
I heard this is maybe one of the weirder trailers yet, actually.
That's for Kojima.
That's par for the course.
Yeah, you have to be pretty weird.
Right, that's saying a lot. If this one's one of the weirdest one, have you seen the past few?
All right, I'll tune in, I guess.
Okay.
Get ready for Heath's hot June anticipation predictions starting next episode.
Sounds good. As we're winding down this podcast, Samantha and I did something video game adjacent, which was play pinball for 3-ish hours earlier this week.
His aunt and uncle very generously rented out a pinball arcade that just has pinball machines in our town for 3 hours.
Some machines are from the 50s and some released last month.
They are still coming out with pinball machines, and they are more complex than you would ever imagine. The most recent one they had was D&D themed, like Dungeons and Dragons, and you got to choose your character. Each character had different buffs. If you got the ball in a certain spot, you went to a shop and you could buy items for your pinball game.
You were managing currency.
It was such a weird experience. I thought it was a great time. You would think 3 hours is too long for pinball, but I don't know. I feel like it was just right.
Yes, certain characters, if you chose the Dragonborn guy, he was extra strong against the dragon encounter.
Yeah.
Of which there was a physical statue of a dragon you could bounce the ball off of.
And if you don't bounce enough balls off of him, you die.
Right, yeah.
I chose the guy that was good at stealing things just because I thought that's kind of what I want to do. I died at the dragon, so.
I was asked to make a choice in Star Wars pinball, which scenario am I going to reenact?
And the Lord of the Rings one, you collect the crew.
Yeah, the Fellowship of the Ring. You get all the 9 members, or you try to.
Yeah, I got Samwise Gamgee and a few others. It was fun. They all say their little voice line.
Oh, what about the black hole pinball machine you played?
All right, so that one, the cool gimmick of that one is if you get the ball in this corner spot that's kind of hard to get to, the middle of the arcade display, which until now has looked pretty barren, the rest of the pinball machine will go dark. The middle lights up as the second layer of the machine is revealed, and all of a sudden you're playing backwards pinball underneath the initial interface of the pinball.
It's inlaid under the machine.
Oh, I love that.
It was great. It totally took me by surprise because it's not at all apparent when you're looking at it that that's under there. It's so dark, you can't see it. My jaw dropped, which I was for technology, I don't think that pinball machine was particularly new.
It seemed old.
Yeah, it seemed like it was at least from the 90s, if not older. It's incredible how much innovation is present in pinball throughout the years. As someone who didn't invest a lot of time into pinball before, I was pretty impressed. What an experience.
It was interesting getting a crash course through history of pinball.
Yeah.
Both seeing the innovations and often the rigid standards they hold themselves to with the number of things that seemed that like there was an unspoken rule had to be consistent.
Yeah.
Many machines had towards the upper right of the play area, there'd be some sort of, it would change contextually based on what IP pinball machine you were playing on, but there'd be like a mosh pit in the upper right of like on the medieval one, it was like supposed to be knights fighting and the ball would just like bounce around a lot in the upper right.
I feel like that's just good game design because that's immediately where the ball goes when you launch it. So if that happens and you immediately are rewarded with a bunch of cool sound effects and you see your points racking up, you're like, oh, I want to put more quarters into this machine.
Possibly.
This is fun.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Obviously, the two flippers are always at the bottom of the machine.
Sometimes there's more.
Sometimes there's more. I don't know what they're called. Are they called bumpers? The things kind of, the two blockers above, right, a little bit above the flippers. Why do you think it is like every machine needs the bumpers there?
I don't know.
It's to direct the ball back into the area of play.
Yeah, because like if you do a weak shot, it's going to hit the bumper and then the bumper might bounce it really hard up.
Possibly.
So.
Yeah, I was just curious to me, the obvious design tenets that go into making a good pinball machine and how many of them were consistent and how many of them were subject to change.
Chris mentioned the medieval one, and that one you could like aim and knock down a castle wall, and then you could aim for the drawbridge and knock that down, and then you were rewarded with a sequence where you get to watch the castle crumble before your eyes. That was my favorite machine because it was so cool. I loved it. Watching me shooting the pinball there with my poor accuracy, somehow getting this cutscene, it was great. I loved it.
That one was a highlight.
It did a little shake and it like lit up. It was great.
All right.
Yeah.
So for the Mobius Tubes pinball machine, someone hearing my voice is talented enough to make this. Obviously, my head is a physical part that if you shoot balls into my mouth, something great happens. And all my voice lines are recorded. But the thing for Chris is because he's such a stickler for like information is power. You really need like a Outer Wild style. If you know what to do, you can either get like additional plays or something, but that would keep people on the machine for too long. So I feel like you need some sort of arcane Dishonored, like what?
Oh, I was gonna say in some of the older machines, like you had to like light up certain letters to spell a word, and that would reward you with something.
Yeah, easy code-based secrets.
Yeah,
maybe it's like the letters in Chris's name or something, but you don't want to spell that. You want to spell Shriek because that's the secret, and like it just kind of like discovering the secrets and it reveals things is how you integrate Chris into this. And then Samantha, I don't know how you play into the pinball machine.
I could be what you whack around in the beginning after you launch your ball.
I was thinking if there's enemies in the game from bosses that we've beaten in a notable way, but we could use Samantha's voice line from when she was playing Prey, and against she used like the one psychic power ability, and every time you hit one of the bad guys, it goes, ouch.
That was, I remember exactly what you're referencing.
Oh God, I don't.
At some point, for Samantha's integration, at some point, while you're about halfway through, the game will just shoot out a playing card, and you're like, huh, that's kind of strange. And then
you're slowly building a deck.
She's the card game girl. There's like a QR code on the card, and you can scan it, and it'll give you, if you build your deck, and you can get pinball abilities.
Oh, straight up. Yeah.
Final idea of how we could integrate Samantha in. Samantha loves endless ocean and marine life. If you ever like mess up really badly and it like the ball rolls down the first time and you whiff, it just like goes right through the flippers. It just like splashes you with water.
No. Much in the way that the black hole mechanic had a track going this way and a track going that way, and you were playing in reverse. Under our standard pinball thing is a tub of water, and you have to, via hot tub jets, which controls streams, you can direct the ball towards one of the holes in the back of the machine.
Use the currents to save the ball.
Yeah, because if it lands in the right hole, you get that play back.
Very good. Yeah, that's better than getting
splashed. And then there's fish. There's gentlemen swimming through, and they'll eat your ball.
Yeah. The cutie pies help you, though.
Yeah, you get bonus points if you hug a cutie pie. With the ball.
And that's the Mobius Tubes pinball machine.
I love it.
Somebody build it.
Coming to an arcade near you.
Amazing. Yeah, Heath, now yours feels low effort. Like, I feel we got to do more for you.
If you think of something.
Listeners, if you think of a better way to incorporate Heath into pinball, you can tell us by sending us an email, mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
That's mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
And what an episode we've had. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Thanks for carrying the show, guys. That Nier conversation was 2 thumbs up from Chris.
Not as good as Heath.
Yeah, but he needs to get that looked at with the 3rd.
Sure.
And that'll do it. Thanks for coming, everybody. See you next episode.
Goodbye.